All right. Welcome to the first quarter 2021 OWASP meeting. I am Michael Bourne, your current OWASP leader. We had a few others that were on the leadership team last year, but COVID kind of kept us all busy with at-home stuff, so I'm not sure of their desire to participate. So we're going to consider them board members for now, due to some OWASP leadership rules on keeping active chapters. We're gonna keep them as board members. That way, they can easily jump back into the leadership role if desired. So for now, I decided that I'm just going to kind of take this up by myself. And I mean for now, because if anybody else wants to help me lead this, I'm always welcome to help. Um, but I wanted to kick off the first quarter meeting with just sort of, hi everybody, I'm Michael. I've been in OWASP Omaha off and on for a while now, with others. Some of the other previous leadership, you may have heard or know some of these people: John Rogers, Dave Pinos, Justin Williams, Zach. Oh boy, I knew I was going to forget his last name.
Galifianakis, I think.
No, Galifianakis. I used to work at UNO, and I can't think of it right now. I'll have to pull up the web page here, and I've actually got it. Oh my gosh, Zach Fowler. There we go. And then we've had others along the way who have actually founded this way back in, I think, 2013. And they've since kind of moved on and passed it on to others. But I wanted to keep this chapter active. We were at risk for becoming inactivated by OWASP Global, but I wanted to keep it active just because I think application security is important. We have a lot of development shops in Omaha, a lot of smart developers, a lot of smart application security people, way smarter than me. And I think we could still benefit from keeping this chapter live. So some things that worked last year that that really went well was the Secure Code Warrior competition that we had, where actually Mr. Jones, Aaron, you participated in that, and that was a lot of fun. So I want to do more stuff like that. I found another capture the flag-esque type company that offers a different approach to a similar type of challenge. So I'll be looking to get in touch with that individual this year to schedule that, either anytime between quarter 2 and quarter 4. So as far as the chapter goes, to keep a chapter active, you have to have a meeting every quarter. And if you go 2 quarters without a meeting, they notice and they start to yell at you, and they start to threaten to close you. They prefer that OWASP members are active OWASP Global members, which is like a $50 a year, maybe 60. I'm not sure if they increased it, $60 a year membership cost. Or they have a lifetime membership option. I happened to come into the money many years ago when I was actively teaching at Abstech conferences, but it's $500 for a lifetime membership. You're a forever member of OWASP, and you get cool different t-shirts at conferences if they find out you're a lifetime member. So I got a really nice polo that I still wear, and it still fits me. Which is important. So anyways, that's a little bit about some of the things that the new global leadership board is kind of passing down. So I'm going to do what I can to keep quarterly meetings, at least adhere to that. Finding speakers may be challenging for each quarter meeting, but I'm going to try. And I may even, throw in a talk there, or if you guys, I know Aaron, you and I have talked, if you want to do a talk, that'd be awesome. You've got a lot to offer the AppSec world. So Andrew, I don't know what your background, but let's get to intros here in just a second. So that's kind of where my head is. I do want to try to do at least 1 or 2 events like that Secure Code Warrior we did a year, just because 1, it fills a quarterly meeting up. 2, it's fun. It's kind of different than sitting through another talk, which I know all chapters of all sort of global organizations that have representation in Omaha do that, where they get a talk together, someone to speak on a topic. And not that that's a bad thing, but we have a very saturated IT and IT security group market here in Omaha, because we're such a big tech hub for a lot of companies. And so at the risk of growing stale, I kind of want to try to do more things like this, right? COVID kind of put a lot of damper on meeting in person. And even though a vaccine's out, the virtual platform for us seems to work pretty well. That way people can stay at the comfort of their homes and not have to worry about driving somewhere. But there is something to be said though about in-person meetings where we share a beer or food or, libations and just talk shop as well. We no longer have access to UNO. We haven't for over a year now. So that was some unfortunate news we got. And my company, Secure Sky, is willing to open our office once everybody's, this whole COVID thing passes. We're able to host meetings in Secure Sky's office. It's a little far. We're pretty far west Omaha at about 168th and Francis, right by Lakeside Hospital. But we've got pretty good space to have a pretty good group meeting, and we're right by Oscar's Wings. If you're a fan of Oscar's, we actually have a wing count at work that we like to keep track of that stuff, and we breached the 1,000 wing mark since 2019, so we're pretty proud of ourselves. So there's some options for in-person stuff there. Whether it's a lunch or after work type of scenario. I don't know. I'm going to play around with all sorts of things and figure that out. So far, this whole 6:30-ish to 7:30-ish seems to be a sweet spot because people are able to have dinner with their family, yet it's not too late where they're missing time with their kids and stuff before bed and all that. So I'm trying to make everybody or as many people happy with this as possible and still keep it going. So that's really what I wanted to talk about. Why don't we go around and introduce ourselves real quick. I'm Michael Bourne. I work at Secure Sky. I'm a senior security consultant. I primarily do penetration testing, cloud security assessment, specifically with Azure, AWS, and Google Cloud, in terms of comparing configurations against the CIS benchmarks. My teammate is one of the co-authors of the CIS benchmark for Google Cloud. I help out with the Azure CIS benchmark, and currently I'm also helping out with the Cloud Security Alliance's Cloud KMS documentation, the updated one. And that's been a fun challenge because um, key management systems is not my strength, except from a pen testing perspective, having to try to break into them. So it's funny seeing they're like, oh, we want your red team experience. It's like, okay, but you guys are pretty much writing everything that I know about. So I don't know how I could help here. But anyways, we're figuring it out. Other than that, I try to stay up to date on the OWASP application security verification standard because I'm a firm believer that many organizations should adopt that as their own application security standards. I'm also trying to follow up on the next iteration of the OWASP Top 10 because that is one that we include in our testing when we do AppSec assessments at Secure Sky. Secure Sky is basically just a cloud security cloud security posture management startup that was founded by a bunch of executives that I used to work with at NTT Security. They pulled a bunch of us over and said, let's build a company. And, not knowing what we were in for, we said, sure. And so far it's going pretty well. So, all right, enough about me. Who wants to go next?
I can go. So yeah, my name is Andrew, and this is my first meeting. I am the new information security officer at the Department of Labor. I actually am in Lincoln. I joined OWASP a couple of days ago. They're actually running a sale. It's like 2 years for like maybe $50. It's actually a really good deal. And I'm more of like a policy guy. That's kind of the path I'm on. And so I just figured right now I'm just trying to expose myself to the local community as much as possible. Definitely always look at the OWASP page and just kind of want to just kind of be, again, just more of network and know what's going on in the area. And like you said, Michael, I think this is a good area, especially Omaha and even Lincoln, to hopefully boost the membership a little bit, get more activity. In terms of my background, I'm actually new to IT. I actually had about 15 years, give or take, as a librarian. The last 10 of them were in higher ed. So I used to work at UNL. And then I took a career pivot into instructional design with the judicial branch or the Supreme Court. And then I just felt like I was just hitting a wall, and I just kind of was plateaued. So I signed up at Southeast Community College last year. And in the last year, I took 32 credits. I got my core CompTIA certs, including Security Plus. And right now I'm looking at starting Bellevue in the fall. And one of the things I discussed with Ron this morning is Ron is a contractor with the Department of Labor, is whether I should do the accelerated bachelor's, which I've been accepted to, or what he was recommending is just go straight to the master's, given my academic background. But we'll see. But either way, I'm a cybersecurity student who's also a security officer, looking to just kind of learn a lot more about security from all different angles, which is what brought me to this group.
That's awesome. I can attest to the accelerated bachelor's program because I pivoted from meteorology into IT, but then I fell in love with the hacking course on that accelerated program. So from there, I served my time at my church doing IT before I went and worked for solutionary slash NTT security and got into pen testing. So either way, I would take Ron's advice, but either way is going to benefit you, right?
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, because I guess to me, my mindset is I know that my career, the path that I'm on, is really more of a leadership administrative role. And his example is like, you need to know enough about firewall settings to talk to somebody, but you're not going to be doing the firewall settings. But I really enjoy the red team, blue team stuff. And so I'll see. Like I said, I emailed him today because I've been accepted already to the bachelor's, and other people told me to get the bachelor's, or not even the degree itself, just get the education, because I definitely don't care about the degree. It's more about getting that knowledge and that experience to give me the background for the higher level courses. But we'll see. But like I said, either way, I mean, the good thing is this job, I kind of fell into it. I was in a help desk role, and I started kind of rattling the cages about some security concerns I had, and then they realized, we can keep contracting with Ron, or we can hire from within. And I'm just excited to be here. But let me tell you, 6 months ago, I would not have thought I'd be in my current role, because I just left it all behind. I just kind of just walked away. I took a massive pay cut, went to a help desk role, which is where I think every IT person should start. And right place, right time with the right advocates. And like I said, as of 10 days ago, I'm the security officer.
Well, that's good, and we're always happy to be people to lean on with questions, right? So
Absolutely.
I
just joined you guys. I just asked you to connect on LinkedIn, and I'm following both of you on Twitter now.
Perfect.
Yeah, I just came back on. I was off Twitter. I was very passive. I had a locked account. I wasn't following anybody. I went to TweetDeck, and I just had my my list that I was following. But I don't know. Now that I want to network more, I'm venturing back out, and hopefully I don't regret it as I put in my. Because I felt like I was voluntarily putting myself in a room of screaming people.
Welcome to InfoSec Twitter.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully now that certain people are no longer on Twitter, I'm not going to name names, things may have calmed down a little bit.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah. Okay, well, great. Nice to meet you. Welcome aboard here, and thanks for connecting. Aaron, do you want to tell Andrew and myself about yourself?
Sure. Aaron Clark, also known as Crypto Jones. I am a graduate cybersecurity major at the Rochester Institute of Technology. I'm also have a company called Teamutla out of Grand Island, Nebraska. We do cybersecurity consulting for whoever will pay us. Also do some contract software engineering stuff on the side, just because those types of jobs never seem to go away, unfortunately. So yeah, not very interesting person.
No, you don't let him fool you, Andrew. He's actually quite interesting, and he's quite a very talented developer. He's just also very modest. All right, awesome. Thanks. Nice to meet both of you. So, Andrew, do you have any questions about OWASP, their mission, about our chapter history, or anything like that?
I mean, not really, honestly. No, like I said, I just happened to come across you guys when I saw that sale online, because I was downloading a lot of documents off of OWASP, like the different lists and the like. So no, I honestly know. And the only thing I'll ask you guys to just be nice to me is that I will volunteer for everything. That's just like me. So one of the things definitely my wife is holding me accountable for is just don't go and sign up for everything, because then I end up doing a crappy job at 10 different things instead of a really good job at one.
Or you tend to ignore your wife, and then she gets really mad.
Well, exactly. Yeah. I was heavily involved in some other associations in my previous career, and I mean, there was a 3-year period where I was just really absent at home because it was just 24/7. So that's why I'm very, very conservative now. Because when you're saying, "Oh, I need people to help out," my first instinct was to tell you sign me up. But let's be a little bit more thoughtful about it. But that being said, I definitely believe in being active in groups that I'm in.
Yep.
So probably if there's like time limited projects here and there, I'd be happy to help out.
Okay. I'll keep
Yeah.
that in mind.
And in terms of questions, again, just because you're the only chapter, do you have members from Lincoln? I mean, I know you're going to be mostly Omaha, but I just didn't know how many people are in Lincoln.
Yes. Yeah, go ahead, Aaron.
I'm actually west of Lincoln in
Okay.
Minden, Nebraska. So don't feel bad because you're in Lincoln. You're closer to Omaha than I am.
So there was a time back, I want to say, when did I join? I think I joined in 2013, 2014. And there was a time where there was one Omaha chapter. We were calling ourselves Omaha/Lincoln.
Yeah.
Then as the previous leadership kind of faded out a little bit and some of the quarterly meetings fell behind a little bit, somebody started a Lincoln chapter, but then that went away, and I don't think that exists anymore.
Yeah.
So yes, we do have members that occasionally will join us from Lincoln, or in Aaron's case, even further away. So.
And I'm in some other groups that are the exact same way, because Lincoln is in that in between stage where we're nowhere near Omaha, but we're obviously not Kearney or Seward. And it's hard to find a sustainable group for a volunteer organization. So I'm definitely used to this experience of the group being based out of Omaha, but including essentially being the Nebraska chapters. Essentially.
Yeah. And that's kind of why I like these virtual meetings, because then you guys don't have to drive an hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours, to get to the meeting.
3 hours, yeah.
Right. And Aaron used to show up to DC 402 meetings, which I'm also part of when we were in person. It's like, dude, you just drove 3 hours for this meeting.
Yeah, you better be buying the first round if he's driving 3 hours.
Exactly. So yes. So I think, virtual meetings. Now I understand that with COVID, a lot of people are virtual meetinged out, right? Myself included. Like, I've cut back the amount of meetings I go to for other organizations that I'm a member of, because I mean, everything, I don't even go on site anymore when I go to client locations unless they're in Nebraska, right? Everything has to be done remotely now. So yeah, so that's good. That's great background. A project that we've done in the past, which is no longer up because we just, my fault. Like you, Andrew, I have trouble saying no to stuff, and my wife reminds me of that daily. And so I make sure to run things by her, and she then reminds me what else I recently committed to. But one thing we've done as a chapter in the past was worked on a cheat sheet for the cheat sheet series of OWASP. So previously it was more of a API security testing cheat sheet. Where we take parts of the REST API cheat sheet and the API security cheat sheet, and we take it and mingle it up to more of a pen testing perspective or offensive testing perspective. That was many years ago, but again, they kind of took it down because it was no longer maintained. So there's opportunity for us to jump in and do something like that possibly. I could tell you that it's a lot of work, and with 3 members, it may be challenging for us who are already committed to a lot of stuff to do, but it's an option. When I'm talking about help for this chapter, is if you have something cool that you're doing, like a research project, or you just learned about something interesting, whether it's Abstech or even if it's borderline Abstech, and you want to present on it. Typically our presentations are with our chapter meetings, which will be once a quarter. So if that's something you want to do, that's great. I'll solicit emails. Don't feel like you're ever not knowledgeable about a certain topic, right? I get that a lot from potential speakers, and they wound up being way more knowledgeable than they realized. And 2, you never know your audience level, right? You never know what people's knowledge level is in the audience. Usually when people sign up for a talk, it's because based on the talk description, they realize that they're going to learn something from it, right? Even if you as a speaker may not think you can teach anything. And I've had to learn that lesson the hard way over time as a pen tester, speaking about offensive security things, right? There's actually a lot of people out there who don't understand Python and how to use Python for either pen testing or application security. And so talks like that actually were more valuable than I realized, thinking I was such a novice at Python, right? As an example, right? So, I just encourage, if there's a topic that just really lights your fire and lights a spark under you and it's not going to take a whole lot of time to prepare on your end, let me know. Just send me an email and say, hey, I'd like to talk on this topic. Great. Here's when the future meetings will happen, and you know what's going to work with your schedule as much as you can plan in advance for that.
Okay.
So Aaron's volunteered to talk sometime this year, and I'm excited to
Yep.
see what he's cooking up. So
I actually was thinking it would be on the OWASP top 10 because one, you know, like you were saying, it's going to change eventually. 2017 was the latest,
Yep.
and even if it's over the 2017, I think it's a good thing for people to know because I think just being the basics of application security, I think it's a good primer.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. That's very good, right? I may even try to do a talk on the OWASP application security verification standard and how I've applied it when performing application penetration testing, because there are aspects of the security verification standard that do that are testable via a pen test, where you don't necessarily need documentation or to interview developers or data flow diagrams, right? And some things that I've learned about that, and then a special spreadsheet that I created to make it easier for me to keep my own developers in check at Secure Sky, right? Because they love when I get involved. Yeah, so that's just kind of some options for this year. I actually may try to put up a form, and Aaron, if you're familiar with GitHub Markdown, maybe you and I could put our heads together to put like a speaker registration form online or something.
Sure.
And we can start to promote the chapter that way a little bit. So little things like that I may ask for help on.
Okay, that's easy peasy.
Oh geez, I just found a total typo. I don't have a complete sentence here. That's funny. Don't be afraid to. Don't be afraid to what, Mike? Anyways,
Don't be afraid to do anything.
right. And if either one of you are into cloud security, I think a huge area that would draw a lot of participation is talking about modern applications in Azure or AWS or Google Cloud, and some of the security aspects of moving applications there. I've often considered doing a talk on how not to use the cloud for a lot of things, because I see a lot of organizations essentially using Azure as their next hypervisor instead of making serverless aspects of their application architecture, right? So these are just some things that have been on my mind and my heart lately, and I don't know. And then on top of it, if you guys have any feedback at any time, something cool you'd like to see the chapter do, send me an email and get your idea to me, because until we fill out the leadership team, at least one or two more people, we're relying on my brain to come up with all the ideas, and that's never good for a chapter. So I love to solicit feedback, and if you have some now, please share it.
Yeah, so I think right off the bat, I think we should have our own Discord channel, because I think having a separation between DC 402 and the OWASP Omaha,
Mhm.
that way will, one, remind people that OWASP Omaha is a thing,
Yep.
and two, I think, I hate to say kids, right? Because that kind of dates me, right?
Right.
But I think modern young people, we'll use that word, I think are more comfortable with Discord than Slack,
Okay.
because that's how all their
The gaming community.
Yep.
Yep.
Plus, BHIS, Wild West Hacking Fest, Trusted Sec. A lot of the DEF CON groups have gone to a Discord.
Okay,
So
interesting. Yeah, because we have a OWASP as a global organization has a
has
Slack,
a Slack, right? Which
and
we
then
have.
and we've got a chapter channel that I put in that Slack.
Yep.
So yeah, a Discord. I'll have to go through the bylaws to make sure that's allowed, but I don't see why not. That's not a bad idea.
And that way we can give the little shortened Discord link in the chapter meetings, and hopefully
Yep.
get more people involved.
And Discord's free, right? You just
It
sign up
is.
for a server. That's right. Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. Okay. Great. Let me take some notes here.
Also, I 6 months ago I didn't even know there was an Omaha OWASP. So I
Yeah.
ended up joining the I ended up joining the Austin OWASP
Hmm.
because I'm from Texas, and I guess my plan was to kind of head to that area when my kids graduate. Um, one of the cool things they do is they're doing a CISSP study group. I know it might be hard to do with 3 people, but
Yeah, no, that's good.
I think one being like the entry, I guess not entry level, but just like the main certification. And I hate to say that because I have an SSCP, right? But I think for most people, the CISSP is a good good goal as far as cybersecurity certifications.
Yep, definitely a good one on the resume. It also is a good one for teaching you how to filter out robot recruiters on LinkedIn. Okay, so Csp Study Group. So or if I could just remember the talks, the talks that seem to go over well are bleeding leading edge type of AppSec thing. So we had an instrumentation talk not too long ago that went over really well. That was given by Jeff Williams of Contrast Security. A lot of the pen testing talks, whether mobile pen testing or some new way to automate Zap or Burp, those seem to go over pretty well. Are there any AppSec topics that you guys can think of that maybe flashy that we should
I don't
really try to get
I
speakers on?
I don't know, like something like top 10 Burp Suite plugins. Something like that would be, I think.
Okay,
Uh,
that's a good one.
because I know BHIS did like a little 90-minute webinar on Burp Suite, and like he only mentioned the plugins for like 5 minutes, but I think you could literally do a 60-90 minute
Yeah,
talk
yeah,
just on those plugins.
yeah. Because there's at least there's at least 15 or so that I use regularly, so that's good.
There's a GitHub repo that I forked. It's called Awesome Burp Suite plugins.
Mm-hmm.
I think I forked it. Hold on one second. And it basically just lists all the good
Nice,
plugins.
nice. Okay, these are good ideas. I
Oh,
like them.
Awesome Burp extensions. It's by Snoopy Security. Snoopy Security's GitHub.
Okay, perfect.
And you know what? Instead of a CISSP study group, maybe the big thick Bible web application hackers handbook. Maybe like you know maybe like a book club for that, because I think that right there is
Yep.
the Bible of AppSec kind of.
Yeah. It was actually written by the creator of Bursary, wasn't it? I think he had
Maybe.
some entries in there. I'll have to go back. I have it, and I have to go back and look. Something too that we used to do. I used to send an email when there's job openings at companies.
Yes.
I don't know if that's useful. If somebody's hiring.
I know that I definitely try to go in and apply to all the jobs um, in the OWASP job, in the OWASP Slack.
Yeah, it's good. Making some. I cannot type today.
So this is where you get your kid like, hey, I'll give you some candy if you take notes for me.
No, I've already had enough sugar with the donuts before dinner.
Oh no.
Okay, yeah, these are good, man. These are good. Andrew, are you guys into cloud at all at the
Oh,
Department of
we are,
Labor?
yes. A lot of that is handled by the OCIO's office. So I'm one of 3 security officers at the agency level,
Okay.
which is why my job is more of an audit, governance, security kind of deal as opposed to like the hands-on technical things.
Yep.
But yeah, we definitely have migrated a lot to the cloud, especially with Exchange and everything.
Okay. All right. So maybe some sort of let's see,
GRC stuff.
just cloud security in general.
Yeah. I mean, one thing that I don't know how common this is across the board, but I know that we use a lot of vendors. Like I know with the Department of Labor, when you access our site, you're not accessing our infrastructure. It's it's a vendor that we rebrand it, and the issues are I know security with them because I've been appalled about some of the stuff that they
Oh
have
yeah.
there. So trying to control things that your third party vendors do, and in our case, we don't have the flexibility to just say okay, we're switching and going to taking our business elsewhere because one, they have a near monopoly on the particular market, and second, that would just require a massive overhaul. I mean, we just couldn't do it, so we
Yep.
don't have a lot of leverage as opposed to maybe the private sector.
Yeah, no, that's good. Third-party vendor security management is a huge one. I can't go into details, obviously, but there's been quite a few companies who have been breached through their vendors lately that we're
Like
helping to clean up.
everyone who uses SolarWinds.
Ouch. Ouch. But yeah, no, that's a good one. Okay. Those are great talk ideas. And I like the study guide groups too.
Yeah, I'm not sure, what one would be best for like OWASP, whether it's CISSP or,
Yeah, there's SANS has some and again OWASP is sort of vendor neutral, but SANS has some secure .NET development, secure Java development classes that are that John Rogers, one of our former chapter leaders, goes gaga over, and he says they're really good training. So
I've heard of SANS.
yeah. And so maybe covering language specific tips and tricks for some of the top 10, right?
Yeah. So I'm assuming Midwest.NET and .NET and Java are probably the biggest
Yep.
technology stacks out here.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, because there is a .NET and Java's meetup group. I know that for a fact. So okay, these are great ideas.
To say that the S in Java stands for security.
That's pretty funny. Yeah. I actually took a Java class at Metro and I really enjoyed it. I didn't think I would.
Yeah, my whole undergrad was Java and Oracle. So
That's good. That's good.
just that again dates me.
Oh, that's fine. It's fine. I took it because our Java programmer at my old company left and we had nobody who was really good with Java in terms of Abstech. So, yep. What were we going to say?
No, I was going to say Zap and Burp are both written in Java. So.
Yep. And have the memory leaks depending which version you're using. No, I'm just kidding. So Andrew, what kind of talks would be useful for you?
I mean, I like that certification kind of study group ones. I thought, I know that one talk I listened to, and I think it was an ISSA webinar, was on certifications. And I think that's good for any early career people to not just be, piling up the certs just willy-nilly, but actually having a plan and knowing which ones are in demand, which ones, depending on which industry you're in. So I think that would be helpful, and especially for those big ones, like CISSP. I mean, if there was a community, that's kind of why I'm looking to join these groups, to just have a group of people who can study together. But up until now, I studied for all my CompTIA ones just on my own, and let me tell you, it would have been great to have had some study partners and cover my blind spots, the areas I struggle with, etc.
Yeah, no, that's good.
the nice thing about the CISSP is it's carved out into domains, right? So
Yeah.
you can easily say, all right, you're going to present on domain 1, you're going to present on domain 2, and what have you. Also, what I like about the CISSP and all the ISC2 stuff is they take ethics very seriously. Like it's baked into their curriculum. So and I think that's important, especially for people in our industry, because you handle people's privacy and their sensitive information. You're handling people's data, so I think it's good to have the ethics taught in there because it's cultural. Not all cultures, um, understand the same thing.
Yep, that's good. Yeah, and I could tell you, um, I had one piece of advice when I took the CISSP when I was studying for it, and it wound up being the best advice anybody's ever given me for any certification test. I mean, I was reading each chapter, taking notes as I was reading, and the person said, "No, read the chapter, do the questions. Questions you miss, go back, read those sections, and do it again. Don't bother going in depth to each chapter because the test is going to test you on the best answer according to ISC squared's perspective,
Right.
not necessarily the industry." And so once I did that, I just read through the chapter, didn't take any notes, tried to remember, for the questions at the end, did exactly that, went back on the ones I missed, corrected the answer, and learned that way. And then all I did was practice a separate exam guide by Sean Harris, may she rest in peace, that was worded the exact way the questions on the actual test are worded. And it blew my mind how much better it was at studying for that exam and passing it. I think I took it in like 2.5 hours instead of 6, and I still passed. So if I could do that as a terrible test taker, anybody can do that, right? So yeah, no, that's good. Okay, so maybe like a what certifications and why. Um,
Oh yeah, that's because someone coming into this industry, they have they have no idea like what's the difference between CEH or
yep,
Pen Test Plus or whatever.
yep,
There's a whole basically every company in the industry is trying to jump on the cybersecurity bandwagon with their own certification
yep.
exam.
Well, and I think there's even a deeper question there. Do you need a degree anymore? Right. So when I was trying to break out of meteorology into IT, nobody would look at my resume because I had a bachelor's degree in meteorology. I didn't have a bachelor's degree in IT or cybersecurity or anything. Right. But I've seen a shift in the industry where it's like, no, 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 no. If you have a cert of something related, it shows you can it proves some sort of knowledge and aptitude, right? And so we don't need to see the college education for this industry anymore, as long as you have. But seeing that shift, I mean, you've got SANS, IC squared, ISAC, like all those people just jumped on that now, and it's such a money train that you're right. It's hard to weed through, right? It's very difficult to plan out which search, especially if you're paying for them on your own to get your first job, right? That's where it gets challenging. So that's
And
good.
it's funny to talk about education because there is a school that I kind of want to have a shout out to Western Governors University. It was started by a group of actual state governors, and they use a competency based education model where you take a test depending on where that test, how much of the material you already know, you fill in those gaps, and then you test out. Of course, it's kind of like CLEP or
Yep.
the PACER tests they have, and it's a really amazing paradigm shift in the way degrees are awarded. So
You
I
know,
think, go ahead.
no, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off,
No,
Aaron.
I'm just saying. I think it's great for people, who have degrees in other things like anthropology or
Mm-hmm.
meteorology or what have you,
Yep.
and they can go and prove their skill set, and then get another degree in IT, so they're checking that box for HR or whatever.
Yeah, I was in higher ed for 10 years, and I'm a huge Western Governors fan. First of all, just from people I know who work there, the work environment is excellent. Like one person told me she had been there 6 months at this point. She's like, I'm just waiting for the other issue to drop because this can't be this good. But in addition to the competency base, there's a friend of mine. He and I were in the same situation. He was at UNK. I was at UNL. And we just both at at this stage of our lives decided to just go elsewhere. And he went to, now he's in a different sector now, but he went to Western Governors. And in addition to the competency base, which is exactly how you just described it, they used to call it the Netflix model. It's a subscription model. You pay $2,500, $3,500, whatever it is, for every 6 months. Yeah. And you can complete as much as you want. You can conceivably finish your entire program in those 6 months. It's unlikely, but if you need, if you're struggling with a concept, with a class, it might take you 4 months to finish that class. For another one, you might breeze through. And then you just, and then what I like about it is, like, the competency base is you cannot advance to the next competency before you've demonstrated the current one. Because in all our classes, you let's just say there's 5 units in the class and you suck at unit 2, but you skate by on the test when you're on to unit 3. That won't cut it at Western Governors. You have to prove that mastery. And I love it. Here's the problem with that one, though, depending on which employer you're with. Like, I was told not to even pursue it with the government because of that model. They don't have the traditional semester, so tuition reimbursement would be really hard, and it's pass. Everything is pass fail, so they don't have a GPA. Yep. And then if you were, let's just say I got a bachelor's at Western Governors, I wanted to transfer to UNO, they just give you essentially a 3.0 GPA. Essentially, they essentially consider their pass to be a B level thing. So it makes it very hard for some of the more uppity schools to accept the credit. Sure. But that being said, if you're in the private sector and it's the knowledge, not the credential, that matters, I would strongly recommend Western Governors to anybody. And I agree with what Aaron said. It's a paradigm shift, and to me, it's the future of education.
That's awesome.
I would actually disagree with you about the GPA thing, because when I applied to Georgia Tech for their cybersecurity program, there were people in my cohort that got accepted just based on their 3.0. I didn't have a 3.0 in my undergrad, and that potentially I was competing with them with their 3.0, and they all got accepted to Georgia Tech. So
that's good. Oh, I'm happy to be wrong about that one then. Yeah, I just know that the big thing that people told me was, if you're applying to the government, there's no way the government's going to give you tuition because they give you one class per term up to the UNL residency rate. But if it weren't for that, and if you look at their program, you come out with a whole bunch of certs along with it. And yeah, it's great. I just think a lot of universities need to shift to that model.
Yeah. Like you said, it's the future.
Yeah.
That's good. Off topic, my wife's trying to consider going back for her teacher certificate. So Western Governors has come up in discussion for that as well. So that's good enough.
For adult learners, to me, it's the best school in the country for adult learners. You don't care what the football team is doing. You don't go there for the campus experience. Right. You're just there for an education, and you have a mentor that works with you. Yeah, definitely. I would strongly recommend she look into that one. And like I said, you just pay that flat fee every 6 months.
Yeah, that's good. What were we gonna say, Aaron?
I don't remember.
Okay. Awesome.
And speaking of wives, mine is kind of sending me subtle text messages here. She's on the other side of the store, but we need to run some errands now. So
yeah, you're fine. We can wrap this up.
I appreciate it. Yeah, but I didn't want to leave you guys alone here. But yeah, she wants to hit the road.
Yeah, it was good to meet you,
problem.
Andrew.
Yeah, likewise. Yeah. No, I'm excited about this, dude. I've been just in this one meeting alone. I've looked up the DEF CON 402. I looked up RITSEC, which I know I'm not eligible for now.
Yep. But they do live stream. RITSEC does live streaming every Friday, and I've learned so much from these kids. They're all freaking way smarter at 19, 20, 21, way smarter than I ever was at that age. I've just learned so much from them.
So I've been bookmarking all these things. So just this conversation alone gives me a great start.
Good. All right. Well, look for an email then for the Q2 meeting, and I'll work with maybe Aaron on doing a talk then. If not, I'll come up with something. But thanks for the feedback and the ideas, guys. I really like it. If you got any more, it's just michael.born@owasp.org. You can send me a direct email there, and that's attached to my phone, which is at my hip, and I get all those emails. So thanks for your time tonight. I'm going to stop the recording real quick.